This is the chart lines video. In this video, we're going to learn how to use and manipulate the horizontal lines. We're going to learn how to apply, remove, and adjust the vertical lines. We're going to learn all about the trend lines, and we are going to learn how to duplicate a trend line or another object. Horizontal lines. You can place or draw a horizontal line anywhere on the chart by using the horizontal line tool in your toolbar. It's this flat line button. Click the button and click on your chart where you would like your horizontal line. This will automatically lock the line in place so you won't accidentally move it. Now, if you want a little more precision and you want to drag it to where you want, you click on the tool. And when you click on the chart, hold the mouse button down, but do not let go. And then you can drag to exactly where you want. And when you let go, it will lock it into place. You won't accidentally be able to move it. Now, it's not locked into place for good. You can alter these lines. You can move them and you can change their colors and so on. You do this by selecting the line to begin with. You double click on the line. When it's double clicked, you'll notice these boxes on either side. You have a little box here, and a little box here. This lets you know that this horizontal line is selected. From here, you can move it as you see fit. Once you double click again, it locks the line back in place, and now you won't accidentally move it. Double click the line to select it. Right click on the line once it's selected. Choose horizontal line properties, and the properties box will pop up, and from here you can change the color of the line, the thickness of the line, and the line quality itself. You can get full line, dashed line, dot line, and so on. In the parameters, you can actually change the price of the line so that it's at an exact price on your chart. Once you've made all the adjustments, click OK. The line is at the new price and at the new colors. Double click, it will lock the line in place. And now, since you've made changes to this line, whatever new horizontal line you apply to the chart will also have those same changes. You can move these lines in front of the price or behind the price. I will magnify this so you can see that right now this horizontal line is behind the price. If I double click the line, right click on it, horizontal line properties, there is a draw objects as background. Right now it's selected, so it is behind the price. If I deselect it, it will now be in front of the price. If I want to delete a horizontal line, I will double click so it's selected. I can right click on the line and choose delete. If I want to delete a few lines, I can select the lines I would like deleted, and you can tell they're selected by the little boxes that appear, and hit the delete on my keyboard. It will delete all of the selected lines. Another option you have for selecting and deleting these horizontal lines is right clicking on a blank spot on your chart. You will see the objects list. Click this, and this will give you a list of all the horizontal lines that's on your chart. You'll also see in this list vertical lines and trend lines and tags and so on if you have those as well. So these are the descriptions and the name. You can actually give each horizontal line a name. As you check the box, it will select the horizontal lines. You can check all the boxes to select all the horizontal lines. You can select only which ones you want. And then from this point, you can hit close and use the delete button on your keyboard, or go back into the objects list and just select. It doesn't matter if the line is selected or not. Select a line here and hit the button delete, and the next one will automatically be highlighted in blue. Delete, delete, delete. And that is a way to get rid of all of your horizontal lines. Vertical lines. You can place or draw a vertical line anywhere you would like on the chart by using this tool here. This is the vertical line button on your toolbar. Press the button and click where you would like to see the vertical line. Once you have placed the vertical line, by clicking on the chart, it will automatically lock the line in place so that you can't accidentally move it. Now, if you need a little more room to be able to move it, you can click it again, hold the mouse button down, do not let go, and then as you move the mouse from side to side, you can drag the vertical line wherever you would like to see it. Once you let go, it will lock it in place, again, so that you won't accidentally move it. Now, it's not locked there forever. You can modify this. You can move it wherever you need to move it, and you can go as far as changing the line properties and the color and so on. Now, in order to do that, you have to first select the line, and you do that by double-clicking on the line, and you'll see these handles or nodes. These little boxes will appear on either end, and at this point, while it's selected, you can drag the vertical line anywhere you want to put it. Once you get it where you want it, double click again, it will lock it in place so that you don't accidentally move it. Double click, now right click on the line, you'll see vertical line properties, click this, and from here you can alter the color of the line, make this blue, you can change its thickness. On the thinnest selection, you can then also change the properties from a solid line to a dashed or dotted line. You cannot do that on anything other than the thinnest. If you choose something thicker, it would automatically make it a solid line. You can, under the parameters tab, actually choose a date, a very specific date. And once you have everything figured out, click OK, and your vertical line will be in place with the changes. So double click on it, it will lock it again. Now every vertical line that you place after this will be whatever the changes were that you made on the last one. So if I were to change this one again, just change the color to magenta, the next vertical line I place will also be magenta. You can place the vertical line in front of or behind the price. Let's zoom in here so we can see that these vertical lines are in front of the price by clicking the vertical line, right-clicking it, vertical line properties. You'll see there's a draw object as background box. It's unclicked, so it is in the foreground. If I click it, hit OK, it'll put it behind the candles. You generally would like to see the wicks of the candles, so having the vertical line behind the candles generally is a good idea. From here, I want to add an indicator because I want to show you something as far as the indicators go. When you have an indicator window, not a moving average in the price, but an actual indicator with a window. So I will use the stochastic oscillator. It has a window. When you place a vertical line on the chart, it will draw right from the top to the very bottom, going through the indicator window. When you place a vertical line in the indicator window, it will only be in the indicator window. It will not go through the price chart. If you want to get rid of some of these vertical lines, you can select it and hit delete on your keyboard. That will get rid of everything that's selected. So if you have a couple of vertical lines that you want to get rid of, select both of them, hit delete on your keyboard, it will get rid of them both. To delete a single one, you can select it, right click on it, and then choose the delete option. And that will get rid of the vertical line that way. I will add a few more vertical lines. And then from here, you can right click on the chart and you'll see objects list. If you choose the objects list, it will show you the objects that are on the chart. Now here it's the vertical lines, but it will also show you tags, trend lines, horizontal lines, whatever else that you've drawn on the chart. If you select these squares, you check the squares, you can see how it's automatically selecting the vertical lines. So you can select all the vertical lines, or you can deselect the vertical lines. Doesn't matter if it's selected or not selected to delete a vertical line from this properties box. As long as the line itself, the field is selected in blue, I can choose delete and it will remove the vertical line. You can name the vertical lines if you like in the vertical line properties box. Sometimes that helps clear up what they're for. If I want to get rid of all of the vertical lines, I'll go to this properties box, select the bottom, and just go delete, 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 as it automatically highlights the next vertical line in the box. Trend lines. You can draw or place a trend line on the chart by using the trend line tool. It's this diagonal line in the toolbar. Click the diagonal line. Once you click the indicator on the chart with your mouse, do not let go of the mouse. Keep the mouse button pressed down and then drag where you would like to see it. This is point 1 is where you press click, and point 2 will be when you let go. It will automatically draw your line this way. Once you have drawn the trend line, it will be locked in place. You won't accidentally be able to move it up and down or sideways or re-angled it or anything like that. You can draw a trend line upwards. You can draw a trend line downwards. It's just a drag and drop kind of thing. Where you click is where it starts, and where you let go of the mouse is where it ends. You can move these trend lines. You can readjust their angle, or you can move them all together. But in order to do this, you have to double click on the trend line. Double clicking on the trend line gives you 3 nodes or 3 boxes or handles. If you grab a handle on the end, the handle on the other end stays in place. It becomes a pivot point, and you can redraw the trend line as you see fit. This way, grab the other handle, and then the other one stays still. If you grab the middle handle, you will move the entire trend line without affecting its slope or its angle. Once you get it where you want it, double click the trend line again, deselect it, and now it's locked in place. You won't accidentally move it. If you want to change the properties of the trend line, you can do that as well. You can change its color, the line thickness, and so on. Double click on the trend line, right click on the trend line. You'll see the trend line properties box. Click that. From here, we can change the trend line color. We can change its thickness. And if you choose the thinnest thickness, then you can also change the properties itself from a solid to a dashed to a dotted line, and so on. When you have made a change to a trend line, the very next trend line you draw will be identical to the changes you made. Trend line has a neat feature. I'm going to get rid of these first by double clicking it and pressing delete on my keyboard. What I want to do is thicken this one up so that you can see it better in the video. Go solid line, thicker line, okay. If I have a trend line going through the price, you can see right now the trend line is behind the price. I can keep it behind or bring it forward. Select the trend line, right click on the trend line, and you'll see under the common tab, draw object as background. If I deselect that, hit OK, it'll bring it in front of the candles. Now the trend line has an interesting property. There is the ray feature for a trend line. Once the trend line is selected, go to trend line properties. Under parameters, there is a ray button. If I click the ray button, click OK, it'll project the trend line out into the future as far as the chart will allow. It will go right to the edge of the chart. And from here, you can still grab the handles. You can move the trend line as you see fit. The ray feature projects it out into foreverness. If you don't want the ray feature, select it, right click, trend line properties, turn the ray off, and click OK. There are going to be instances where you want to move the trend line forward a little bit. You want to stretch it out, but you don't want to change the angle of the trend line. Now you can do this by selecting it. Once you have your trend line drawn, you've got the point A and point B, you've got your 2 points of interest. You can hold the shift button down, grab the end you wish to move, hold the shift down, and then as you move your mouse, you can drag it to where you want. You can see my cursor on the mouse. Even though it's moving up and down, the angle of the line stays the same. If you want to duplicate a trend line, select the trend line, hold the control button down. Once the control is held down, grab the middle handle, move it to where you would like to move it, let go, and you have a duplicate trend line, the exact same slope as the first. Now that you've got trend lines all over, you might want to get rid of some. You can do this by selecting some trend lines. You can select as many as you would like. Once they are selected, you see the handles. Hit the delete button on your keyboard. That will get rid of all of the selected trend lines. Another option is to select the trend line. Once it's selected, right-click and choose delete. And another option, yet again, is I will draw a few trend lines on the chart. Right-click, choose the objects list. Here you'll see the trend lines, and you can name the trend lines in the properties box when you double-click on the trend line. As you select the squares, you check the squares, you'll see that the different trend lines become selected. From here, you could get out of the box and just hit delete, and that will delete all of them. Or, doesn't matter if these are selected or not. If you choose a trend line, you highlight it by clicking on it. It'll highlight in blue. Hit delete, and then the next one automatically gets highlighted. Delete, delete, delete. And there you go. All your trend lines have been added, modified, and deleted. How to duplicate an object. There is a way that you can duplicate an object you have on your charts. For example, of a trend line, you might want to duplicate this object so that the second trend line you draw has exactly the same angle. Double-click the trend line before you grab it to move it. Hold the control button on your keyboard down. Hold control, grab the center handle, and then place the second trend line where you would like. This will duplicate your trend line. Same goes for other objects. I've got a square. Double-click to select the square. Hold the control button, move the square where you'd like, and this will give you an exact duplicate of the object. All right, that's it for this one. Thank you for joining me in this video, and I'll see you in the next one.